All right.
Gary is shaking his head as in, what kind of Keystone Cop routine is this?
Travis, are you aware that last week's isn't on the website?
Yeah. I somehow I got a blind spot and forgot to put Alan up there. Maybe Alan does that to my brain. He fries it.
Probably. So, all right. So let's get started. First things first. Bring up my. The question is, what do you guys see? New share. This. Do you see this link here?
Yes.
Okay, that's our Google Drive, and there's now a Laser 201 folder, and under that folder there are two folders, one with last week's date and one with this week's date. So the last week's date had all the files that we sent out, plus Gary reminded me today so well that I didn't send any pictures out. I gave you guys the LightBurn file, but I didn't give you any pictures on what it looked like when you're finished for the line box we did last week. So at that, it's I don't know, is there a way to, let's see, there's got to be a way to find a participant. How do I talk on the screen? Can I do that from here?
Say it again.
I can do chat.
Hey, Alan, could you copy that link and put it into the chat window, please?
That's what I'm working on.
Okay, great.
I had to find the right place to have it.
Got it.
All right. There. Now it's in the chat, so everybody should be able to see it, hopefully. So I got some really cool files downloaded this week. That's a LightBurn. There it is. Save this one. All right. So I found this lady in, I don't remember where she was from now. Where's my, oh, it's over here. These don't work for me. All right, do you see these T-shaped things on my LightBurn screen?
Yep.
Okay. These are tie downs or hold downs for the laser bed. And they're like a bobby pin, and you put your wood down, and then you push the bobby pin thing through the honeycomb, and it switches in while you're pushing it through, and it holds the wood down.
How cool is that?
So that file is on the
But Alan, didn't you start by saying this doesn't work for you?
It doesn't work for me because I don't have a honeycomb.
Oh, I see.
My laser bed is just a piece of expanded metal.
Got it. Okay, got it.
So I tried to modify them to make it work with mine because I thought it was a really cool idea.
Yeah.
I worked with it for a while and I gave up. But for you guys that have honeycombs, it's called Hold Down Pegs is the name of the LightBurn file. It's on that Google Drive. Okay. So you probably will. They're like 3 inches long, so you probably will have to manipulate them a little bit, and the width may not be quite right. I don't know. This lady was from Europe someplace. They may have different honeycomb size than we do or something. So that was just a new file I found. But last week we tried this and it didn't work. So I prepped a little better this week. And Gary wanted these for Peggy to paint. So I was going to make a gazillion of them. And the file was like literally 47 meg. So I started playing around with this and to figure out why. So I'm going to highlight this whole shape right here. And then I'm going to turn the node tool on. Travis went over this, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. Look at that. Here, I'm gonna make it bigger so you can see. But the whole thing is one big node. Okay? that means there are 47,000 nodes on that 3-inch ornament.
Can you
So,
zoom in a whole lot more just so we can really appreciate that?
literally, you can't get close enough, hardly.
Jeez.
See, the nodes are like half a millimeter apart on those circle or something like that.
Yeah.
Is there
So,
something that shows the node count in your?
yeah,
your
so I'm
screen?
about to show you that. That's the cool new tool that I found this, and I called Travis and go, "Holy cow, look what I found."
Yeah.
Almost as excited as the guy with the new laser. So if you go up to edit and go down, there's a function called optimize selected shapes. You click that, and it gives you a box, and it says fit shapes to arc. It says there are 37,591 points on that file. On not the file, just this object set of
Yeah.
objects.
Yeah.
So if you grab this little slider and you start yanking it to the right, you can see the count go down
Wow.
and the nodes combined, basically, is what they did. So we've gone from 37,591 nodes to 699.
And as you said, that really reduces the file size, right?
The file goes from, this file is 4.5 megs, and it goes down to less than a meg.
Wow.
With two images
Yeah. Yeah.
in it, it's less than a meg. So,
And
then
was there any change in quality? How's it look?
no, it looks exactly the same. So, okay, here, I can do that for you. Let's take this one instead of that one. I think I have to turn this off. Go back to here. Well, this one has already been fixed, okay? So we're going to turn the node tool on, and it wasn't fixed as good as the other one. We'll go back up here. We'll go back to optimize selected path. Well, it was a few more. This one has 706 points on it, and you can get it down to 704.
Oh yeah.
But
If you just look at the two.
You can look at the two together.
Yeah.
You can't tell any difference.
Yeah. I mean, there's a. If you look at the trim on the coat, for instance, you can see there's a little more ruffle on the left than on the right, but who cares?
Well, and that's zoomed in at this level too.
Yeah, right.
So here you got, it's a little more, see this area right here? You got
Yeah.
a little bit more of a curve here.
Yeah, yeah.
On this one, you've got a little bit more of a straight line, and these don't quite touch as well. But once you get out and get that thing lazed, it's, you'll never figure it out.
Let me put it a different way. Gary can still sell it for $7, whether it was 37,000 nodes or 688 nodes.
I
So
was just gonna say, we'd probably have to drop the price to $695 because
it has less nodes, so you got to have less work. So a couple other things that I found out though, the one with a gazillion nodes, if you go over here to your power settings for pink, which is that's just an etched line, is all the pink is. There's a button right here. It says start pause time milliseconds. And for some reason, it was set to 100 milliseconds when I got this pattern. And this pattern took forever to burn because what it does is every time it hits a new segment, it pauses 100 milliseconds.
Oh my goodness.
Before the laser moves.
Oh my goodness.
And you've got 37,000 spots in there. So and for some reason or other, it got saved to my library like that. So now I'm just going to go in one of these days, and I keep forgetting to do it, and erase my cuts and layers library and start over. So
Alan, what's the use case for that, do you suppose?
I have no clue. I guess if you wanted to start it and then run across the shop to watch it burn.
Yeah, in 100 milliseconds.
Yeah. Well, fast. Well, you could set it to whatever want. You can set it to seconds.
You could, yeah.
I mean, I don't know how big that thing goes. You can go to 10,000 milliseconds, which is what, 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So that's something. If your laser looks like it's jerky, it goes and then it stops, and then it goes, then it stops, and it goes and stops. That's the button you have to push.
Very interesting.
Get rid of it. So
Which again is which button?
So you go to your power setting, and it says it's the top one on there. It says
How do you get to the power setting?
oh,
Double click on the layer.
double click on the layer, yeah. And it doesn't show up in the cut info down here underneath down here. I very rarely use these buttons because I forget they're here.
Yeah.
I always just click on the color I want and set my power up and whatever I want. And if it's a fill, I set the fill from there. But that's two things. One is to optimize. So I've started optimizing everything I get from other people. You know, like I get it in, I get it looking like what I want, and that's the next button I push is that. I just highlight. You just highlight, and it will not work on a grouped object.
Oh, okay.
Just like the nodes don't like on the grouped object. But you just go down here and you look, and it doesn't hurt your object. You can go over here and go, oh, it didn't do anything. I'll just put it back over here and hit cancel.
So, Alan, you were showing us that form, but there was a slider above the slider.
Well, it's for lines too. So this is fit shapes to lines, and I haven't found anything that works on.
Okay.
Not anywhere like the arcs. The arcs seem to be the big, and I think it's what those people, whoever designs the pattern, software they use to design the pattern, how it vectorizes its image.
Yeah.
So I'm finding my scroll saw patterns that I get from Steve Good, he uses Corel Draw, and it doesn't work. I mean, I don't have to do anything there.
Right. Hey, Alan, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
So just a minute ago, if you go back to that menu that showed the optimized, the one just below that
Down here.
was to delete duplicates. And I think I've used that in the past, but I've got a situation right now where let's look at one of your Santas. Let's say that you had the inner circle of your outer ring. Let's say it was a complete circle, and you had another circle immediately underneath it. So you had two of them. I've got that situation on something that I've been burning, and I cannot separate them because I can't grab just one. They seem to somehow be grouped, and I can't ungroup them. But maybe that delete duplicate would be where I could try that. Think that might help?
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt. I always, before I start doing that stuff, I make it says no duplicates found on this one.
Yeah.
Well, here, let's try something here. Whoops. Square. Another square.
Yeah, they probably were not exactly superimposed. Yeah, they're a little off. Okay, I was just curious if you happen to know. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I've got a couple like that too, Travis. And I tried changing the color of one of those lines, and then
Yeah, I can't select an individual one of them. They seem to always be together.
Huh.
But don't worry about it. I was just curious if you knew. That's fine.
So that was the optimized object, and let's see. I want to get rid of this. If not, no, don't save it. There you go. The next thing I didn't know if anybody was interested in the text to path function.
Sure, that's how you get curved text, correct?
Yeah, curved text.
Oh, please show us. That's great.
Yeah.
So,
That's good.
so I was telling Jim while you guys were on coming in. So my son owns a comic book shop, and he always waits until the very last minute to say, "Dad, can you do this for me?"
Before we leave the previous topic, I have a question.
Okay. Go
Two
ahead.
questions, actually. One is when the nodes were excessive, did that increase the cut time?
I don't remember. I think it did a little bit.
But it really increased the time it took to manipulate the image, right?
Yeah, well, and the big thing was storage, because I used the matrix tool down here. So my bed's 12 by 20, so I can get 12 of those 12 of those ornaments on one sheet of plywood. But if each one of them is 4 megabytes and you multiply that times 12, when you save the file, and the other thing is it slows LightBurn down, because when you go to save, you're saving a 50 megabyte file instead of a 5 megabyte or 1 megabyte file. And then when you send the job over to the laser, it seems like it takes forever for it to go over there. And
And the other question was the pauses. Are they reflected in the simulation, online simulation in LightBurn?
Ooh, that's interesting, because if in the preview of the cut, when it calculates total time, if that 100 milliseconds is added in and you had 47,000 nodes, you get a really big number for estimated time.
let's go back to that one and see, just to check it out. I mean, since we're working so hard on this.
And Gary, by the way, your wife is a saint for painting those things. Those are incredibly detailed.
Yeah, she enjoys doing it, but would drive me crazy, I'll tell you.
Oh my gosh, okay.
So let's look in here. Let's look and see what happens. Remove overlapping lines.
Just look how long it takes, yeah.
So it takes a while to do that. Playback speed is
But it says total time is only 1 minute and 46 seconds.
yeah. So it's not that far. It doesn't.
Oh wait, you took out the 100
Yeah,
milliseconds.
wait a minute. Let me. Yeah. Now let's see what it is. It's still 1 minute and 46 seconds.
Huh.
So it didn't. So it doesn't really seem like it affects that. Let's see what happens if we. How do we do this? How do we play this? There, play. No, see, it doesn't show it here. It's just
It's not capturing the delay of that 100 milliseconds each time in this calculation, or it would have gone up in time when you added that in.
yeah.
The thinking is it would still, when it was doing the lasing.
Yeah, it would. That's the point. Yeah, it would still take time in real world, but it doesn't seem as though it's being recognized here. He's calculating the move time and the burn time, and I guess in those moves is not that little 100 millisecond stutter.
Yeah, that must only apply at the controller.
Yeah.
So
Okay, thanks.
that was I didn't even think that. Okay, well, yeah.
Alan, is this one of those that you're doing for the holiday gift show?
Yes, I've got like 15 of them for Peggy to paint. So I got this one. What were they, Gary? The Santa Claus, the snowman. I don't remember. There were like 4 of them, and one of them I couldn't do for Gary because I still haven't got it. I made one, but it was big, and of course Peggy liked that one, but that was like, 1 per quarter sheet or something like that.
Yeah, but you got to remember, if it makes Peggy happy, that's really important.
It's more important for Gary than it is.
It's important to me, I'll tell
Yeah,
you.
no kidding.
What do they say? Happy mama, happy dad.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that, Alan.
It's no problem. I like doing that. I just
Oh, no kidding,
I-
Alan.
That's what I was going to say, Gary. When is Doug going to open the shop for the no contact utensil thing? Is that this week?
Tomorrow at 11.
Okay, tomorrow. Okay. I've got things going. I can't do that tomorrow.
11 to 3, right?
11 to 3.
Yeah, I can't make it down there tomorrow. I'll have to make it down there another night or another day or something. We'll figure it out. So
Let me know. I'll come meet you.
Okay. So my son wants to make these tokens basically out of their acrylic. He wants them so that you can see through them because they lay on top of a playing card. So this is what the token, and it's about the size of a quarter. So to make these, you need the black circle is your cut. The red circle is just you turn that off when you get ready to cut. So you do this and it would gray out or line out. But that's what you want the text to go on. So you grab the text. It doesn't even have to be close, but we're going to get it so everybody can see it a little better. You grab the text, hold control down, grab the circle, go to the Tools tab, go down, it says Apply Path to Text. I don't know why it doesn't say Apply Text to Path, because I think that's what it does. But you click it. Now, it's sort of on the side, and it's in the middle. I don't want it on the middle. So you click off of it, double click your words, it brings back up your letter tool. Okay. You can hit some, whoop, wrong place. Get your, there. You can use your just spaces to get your, get it back down to the bottom, or you can rotate the whole thing. I just don't like rotating it. But to get, then you go up here and use your, just the same things you have in Word or WordPerfect or whatever. You have left, middle, right justification for the X and left, and then you have top, middle, bottom for the Y. So now it's the bottom of the letters are on the circle that you have. Now, but they're all sort of scrunched together. So to unscrunch them, that's a new term, by the way. You can increase your horizontal spacing. Whoop, wrong. What? I lied. You increase your vertical spacing. Come on, what's wrong? Oh, it's over here doing this one. Never mind. Come on. Now it's on the right one, and we're going to do the horizontal spacing. Yeah. Now you notice the letters are sort of going away. That's because you got a bunch of dead spaces over here. Okay. And you may want to take it down to a smaller a font. And then you can put some spaces back in too. Get it down to where you want. So there, now it's connected together. Now you got to get that into the coin. We just highlight the two. We used this button last week, the bullseye button.
Yeah.
Bullseye, and away you go. All right.
So
Now,
your ability to do this means your son is going to keep you as a dad, right?
he's gonna, yeah, I get it. It's another unpaid service.
The tradition continues.
Yeah. So now let's take this one step farther though. We got to put an image. There needs to be an image in there. We got the little Grim Reaper dude there. So let's go over to File, Import. Where does it go up here so we can see the pictures, the icons. I don't remember which one we wanted to do in there, but we're going to say this one. We're going to put the hand in there. Okay. And that got a little big. So we can go over here and we'll just, we'll take it down to this big. It gives us some room to work. And then what are we going to do? We got to use our trace tool, trace image, right there. Okay.
Why wouldn't you just spend a half hour etching each one?
Because I'm not Travis.
Great.
Oh. So then we take that. We'll make it a fill. We'll tell it that, and I know that inner circle is only height wise is only like 23. So we're going to go to 15. We'll grab that, put it in here. And
So, Alan, is this the corporal punishment coin? First strike spanking with your hand?
You know, I think it was supposed to be it's a dungeon, or it's a Magic the Gathering set that I'm looking at. And these are some kind of enhancement tokens or something. So this is what it's going to look like when you're done. But you see, it's got a second line here, the cut line. But so what we need to do is we need to go get rid of the red and the yellow, and go back and do that one more time.
Actually, tell everybody what you just did when you said you got rid of them.
Okay, so if you go over to your cuts and layers over here, you got the colors for your different layers. Tells you what you're doing, line, fill, what your powers are, and then there's two more categories over here that a lot of people, they get pushed off their screen. But there's output and show. Output does exactly what it says. It's going to send this to the laser, and the laser is going to fire at whatever settings you got. So if we look over here, I'm going to make this bigger so we can get just these two. You can see red on this one, and you can see yellow on this one. Why I use two different colors, I don't know. But when you take the output off on the red, it goes to sort of a pinkish color. It dims it down, the brightness of that color. And the yellow almost goes away. I like using the yellow because that way I don't remember. But so the other thing here, let me show you another cool trick. Let me save this before I mess it up. If you want to do some work in here on this piece right here, but you want to do it without all this other stuff, you can turn the show on black and red off, and look, they're gone. Now I can go in here and I can do anything I want to the golden, brown, orange, whatever color that is. And I can delete, I can add, I can do anything I want. And then when I turn these two back on, you didn't touch anything, because you basically, when you say turn off the show, you hide those colors.
And you can't even select them, right? Or affect them.
You can't affect them in any way. So I use that a lot when I do cleanup on images. When I do a trace image, and it has, you'll get noise. You know, especially if it's like an old Xerox or something like that, where the Xerox machines were terrible,
Right.
like the 60s. And you'll have lots of little black specks everywhere. You can manipulate that picture with those outputs, and then just delete huge areas all at once. It works really good, I think. So, but that's there. You now have text to path.
Hey, Alan, can I set a scenario up and so you can show yet another way that output is really useful?
Sure.
You run that coin, the one with the hand and the word first strike. The etching is beautiful. The cut didn't go all the way through.
Yep.
What do you do?
So now you're basically, what Travis is saying is you just did this, but this outside line here didn't cut all the way through. Well, let's do it right here. Wait a minute. Red. We're going to get rid of the red, so we take that out. So now we'll show it. So this black line is supposed to be the outside of the coin when you're done with it. And it didn't cut all the way through. You haven't moved anything yet. So what you do is you go back over here and you turn off the other two colors where only the black is on, and rerun your laser, and it only runs the outside circle.
It's a flippin' lifesaver is what it is.
So that, and this is my biggest thing is mine. Normally I run two screens, and for some reason, and it's not doing it tonight, I'm glad, the preview screen always shows up on my top screen, and I forget to hit OK. You cannot do anything to this screen while that preview screen is up.
Hey, Alan, can I ask another question?
Sure.
You've got really big icons and really big colors at the bottom. It sounds as though you've set it up so that you have really big setup.
It's because I'm half blind.
Oh, okay. But how did you do that?
I don't know. Because if I figured it out, I'd do it on my laptop, because my laptop has little bitty icons.
Okay.
I tried.
It is an option somewhere. You can choose from about 5 or 6 different scales of images. So, for instance, at the shop, we made them all very large because we have some people who can't see very well, and all the icons are really big. But when someone installs LightBurn on their own machine, they may not know that, and they have a really great display, and everything is teeny tiny. But you can make everything quite large. I don't remember where it is, though.
That might be a topic for discussion. I mean, do we modify the preferences?
Alan, could you just bring up
or what?
the double gears there in the middle of the icon bar on top? Toolbar icon size, right there, the slider. You can make them even bigger. It's make it really big.
Oh, look
at that.
Never saw it.
This is a size for hearing impaired.
Actually, my neighbor can now see the screen.
The problem is there's a point that you start pushing stuff off your screen to the right.
Yeah.
At the top.
And at the bottom on the left, yeah.
So that's about as big as it gets. That's like 2/3 of the way across. I like it there. That's even better. So we went through the tie downs. We went to text, the optimized selected object. We've done text to path. We added all kinds of stuff. We played with cuts and layers over here on the right hand side. So I have a new pattern for you guys, which is uploaded to that file. As I find it here. Oh, there it is. Cool. It's the cool new design. That's what I call it.
Alan, real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh,
On your last set, I'm new to this program. When you were putting the text in on the token, is there a way to standardize the text in? For instance, if you have a set command for that size and shape of the text, is there a way to preset that?
I'm sure there's something up here that says my favorite text is someplace and size, but I don't. File settings, is that it? Let's see. I don't know. I've never done that. I just because
Sorry, what was the question again? I'm sorry, what was the question?
Can you reset the font and size height of the font as a default? And I'm sure there's some place you can.
Oh, you're saying where in the second bar up top you get Arial. Is there a way to change the default on that?
Yeah.
Let me make a suggestion, because this is just generally true. There is at LightBurn a discussion system. It's actually the same discussion system that we use. It's called Discourse. And if you go to forum, singular, forum.lightburn.com, you can get any question answered under the sun, because not only is the developer there, but there's a very supportive community. And that's the kind of question which I would expect would be a nuance that you could not get an answer to easily just anywhere, but I think you get it pretty quickly and easily there. It's a very searchable forum system, and if it's not easily found, you just ask. You get answers really quickly there. So forum.lightburnsoftware.com.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
I think if you go, is it up here?
By the way, welcome,
Right here.
Jeremy Do.
Yeah, just Gerard. Jeremy's a nickname.
Oh, I see.
Okay, I think a couple of people, I don't know if they dropped out or came in. But let's see. All right. So this is the new wine box. This is the one I showed last week. But this is, I'm not giving you this pattern. So I'm teaching you to fish. So you have to go make your own, have to go catch your own meal. This is the one that I designed for me. And you can see the design that I put in here. I just went out on the internet and found some designs and put that in. Okay. What I did do, so I uploaded this pattern. Oh, but it's blank right here. The design's blank, so you have to add your own designs. And I did add pictures this time, Gary, just for you.
I was going to ask.
There's more pictures of this one than there is the other one. This is a very simple design. It sort of holds itself together. This is the bottom plate right here. This goes over the top of that. Then the tabs go through right here. And then you take these two little tab pieces right here, which you can make this into anything you want. The original one of this had a heart right here. And I didn't like the heart because it didn't really go with my theme of the wine glasses. So I put a wine leaf on it. And then that sticks through those, and that holds the bottom together. And then these pieces here go in these slots as ribs. That goes around the bottle. And then this collar here, you put the wine bottle in, and you set that collar on these pieces right here, and then just slide it up, and it locks the bottle in.
Very cool.
And there's also, and I think I uploaded, I'll have to look. If I didn't, I'll fix it. I took this horse collar and enlarged it out this way on either side. So now there's one that's a glass holder also. So you can have your bottle and two wine glasses all connected and go to the beach one day when you can go to the beach and drink again. Oh, wait, it's glass. You can't go to the beach with glass. Somebody said that last week. I forgot. So this is what oh, wait, I gave you guys the images. Dang. Oh, well. You get the images, you just have to move them. So you have to be smart enough to move that image over here, and you get the same one I got. Okay? But it would be cool if you guys made your own. So come up with your own image there and put it in there. That's the next thing for Gary to go break the big green laser and have show and tell again.
Hey, Alan, before you move off of this, there's something that you do which I think is just such a useful technique for people to be aware of. It has to do with a situation like this where you have interlocking ply. And the design, let's say, was beautiful when you did it with your initial stock. And the initial stock happened to have been, say, 0.29 inches thick. But you had to go out and buy some new stock, and you ended up with 0.24 inch thick stock. And so you now have a little bit slimmer stock, and you really have lost the tight fit that you had. There's a technique that you have used, which is the changing the percentage of the size of the entire project to resize it for new stock. Is that something you can easily show us? Not necessarily do it, just describe it.
So what I do, because I get a lot of patterns from weird places on the internet, and you're right. A lot of places, for some reason, Europe uses a lot of 4mm ply, especially for wine boxes. I don't know if that's just more of a standard over there, but they use 4 and 6 instead of 3 and 6. So these slots right here, all of these slots are the wrong size. So what I do is I come down here. Usually I do it in red so I can see it. And I will go up and I will make this 3.1. Whoop, not 32.1. So I find 3.1 is the right number for making slots. And I'll zoom in and I'll see we're going to cheat. Okay, we're going to say that, oh, look, this is my 3.1 and this is what the pattern says. So now I've got to make the whole pattern smaller, or I got to go in and fix it. On something like this one, Travis,
yeah,
I would actually go in and fix each one of these.
Okay.
Because the problem is, if the other way to do this is go like this,
Right.
and
But the bottle still has to fit in.
yeah, if you do the whole thing and shrink it so that the holes are the right size, the bottle's the wrong.
Right.
It's too little for the bottle. So sometimes that works, like on a box, that'll work, because
Right.
unless that box holds something very specific, you can make the whole box. You just have to make sure you get everything and go down.
Yep.
If it's a bottle holder or something that holds something that's a specific size, it's hard to do that with.
Yeah.
I've got those dinosaurs that they're like 5 layers, and the legs are 5 slots, and it holds the body 5 layers together in.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And those came out, I think those were actually 6mm, and that's what I did with that. Is I just whatever it was, if it was 6mm, I said, oh well, half a 6 is
You can do it, Alan.
3. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a higher math. But you can do this whole thing, and then you just go over here and make sure that your lock is set right here. But then you just go right here like this and type in 50% and hit enter, and woof, well, watch this. Poof. It goes down to 50%.
And you get the mini bottles.
And then you have, that's for the airline bottles.
There you go.
So, and the get out of jail free card for screwing up on any Microsoft program is Control Z. Okay, and you're right back to where you started. I use Control Z all the time, especially when I'm using these tools, these binary tools over here for cutting and taking apart. I mess stuff up that way all the time. So.
Say, Alan, when you mentioned that you had images of this stuff, do you mean total images of the boxes as they're put together?
They're put together pictures. Yeah, they're just pictures. So I have the pattern, this pattern. Here, let's see if we can hang on a second, and we'll go there. Maybe screen share. I don't think I have that. Okay, hang on a second. I gotta find the right screen here. Oh yeah, I do. LightBurn here. Share. Screen 2. There. I'm still learning this whole LightBurn thing, or this whole. So,
Wait a minute, you're teaching the class.
Yeah. Not LightBurn. I'm still learning the Zoom thing. So can you see the Google Drive now? Or are you still seeing LightBurn?
Yeah. Yes, we can.
Okay. So up here there's a pictures file. So here's the what you were just seeing in LightBurn. This is the LightBurn file for the wine holder. This is the top holder for the glasses. If you want to add an extra piece to it, Here are the hold down pegs. This is a DFX, and then here's the LightBurn. And then here's a picture file. Let's see what we can come up with. I'm sure it's not gonna work right, but we'll try it. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I've uploaded, just 3 or 4 shots of it, but you can see, how it slides on here. These are where the ribs fit. See if I can't go left or right on this one. Yeah. Let's see if I can see the side view here. Here. So this is without the top on, but here are the pegs that go in and hold the bottom piece. And these little oak leaves, you can glue them on. You can, do whatever you want with them. I actually cut out the oak leaves here in the top one on mine, so that you can see through it. And then I took these oak leaves and I glued them to the top of this piece up here, just as an applique.
They're probably grape leaves, though, right?
No, they're wine leaves, dude.
What does it mean to be
Yeah,
a wine
I
leaf?
noticed he was telling about the wine leaves before. So, wow, very interesting. Wine leaves.
What else do you do with grapes?
Raisins.
Okay, whatever. You probably
Awesome. I think the images are really helpful. I think I can maybe do my homework now. Can you accept late homework?
Thank you, Gary. I thought I was the only one that needed a picture to help me put it together.
So okay, so just so we get some pictures here.
Alan, maybe you could post a link to this stuff in your SIG forum area, so that people know how to find all this.
Okay. So there's the wine box. Gary, I think the piece that you were missing was right here.
That one and the 2 handles, yeah.
And then, the 2 handles were,
Is that another one, Alan?
this is last week's.
Okay.
Because Gary had.
I hate saying things that make it obvious I didn't do my homework.
Yeah, that's okay.
Hmm.
We know you're a bad student. You can just say the dog ate it.
Okay, all right.
So Gary, the other place that you were looking is right here. Those 2
Right.
wavy things, they go on either side. And you don't have to put them on, but I like to put, I like extra strength
Thickness.
right here.
Yeah.
And it also makes it easier to carry the wine, because it's not an 1/8-inch piece of wood cutting into your hand if you're carrying it down the street.
Right.
So to one of your best friend's houses, because you really want to drink wine anyway.
So when you're assembling this, are you gluing the assembly so it doesn't fall apart while you're carrying an expensive bottle of wine?
This one I did. This one I glued together,
Okay.
because it doesn't hook. These pieces here don't hook on. They have to be glued on. The sides don't. It's not that tight of a fit. I don't like to have to pound things together when I put it together, so I like it to fit and then just glue it.
Yeah, I'd hate to drop a good bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Any
Alan,
bottle.
do you advise that this assembly be done with a glass of wine in hand?
At least one.
At least one. Okay.
There's 2 glasses here, one for each hand.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But is it red, or is it white, or is it champagne, or is it?
I knew that was
Size varies.
But so the other thing is if you notice that pattern, if I got a top-down shot on this here, this one I think maybe. On the pattern. So this is there you go, Gary. Look there, you can see it's laminated 3 pieces right there.
Got it.
On the pattern for this wine box, there's a red circle and a black circle. The black circle is what I cut out on this one. The red circle makes it about, I think it's 6 millimeters narrower in diameter. So if you're going to do something smaller, I did some stuff for my boss for Christmas, and she bought mead and wanted boxes for mead. And those goofy mead boxes or bottles are only about 2 inches in diameter. So I made a small one right there on them to fit in. It wasn't this box, but it was. I did the same thing. I just changed the pattern enough so it fit the bottle.
What's mead?
It's just an alcoholic beverage based on just one ingredient.
Honey.
Just honey, yeah.
It's what the monks used to use.
Alan, don't call me honey.
Yeah. Are you seriously? Remember that show?
I do.
Roger. Okay.
So is it like high alcohol content, or is it like wine, or?
I think it's a little more than wine, but it's also more dangerous than wine because I like mead and it tastes like honey. And I can drink wine. I'm not a big wine drinker, but I can finish off a bottle of mead. So there are a lot of microbreweries in San Diego are starting to make mead now.
Yeah.
So and I got started on it in Virginia on a business trip 2 or 3 years ago. It's like mead, and somebody said, "Yeah, that's what Friar Tuck made on,
Yeah.
And, Robin Hood." It's like, oh, I got to try one of those. So bad thing to do. Don't ever try it. So
Tomorrow then.
Tomorrow's priority, huh?
There you go. So, did anybody get a box finished that they want to show? I'll release the as soon as I figure out how to release the control of this. How do I release control, Travis? More.
I don't know.
Chat. Pause.
So stop sharing screen up at the top center.
Oh, there it is. There we go. Cool. So, if anybody's got a cool project, I know Travis has got to have something cool. It may not be his homework.
No, I just keep doing things for the shop, and I've just got the same wine bottle boxes that we've all done 1,000 times. So
The dog ate mine.
here's something that most of you would not have seen, but it's worth mentioning only because it's a technique. I don't know. Can you make it so that my camera comes to me?
It's on you when you
It's on
speak.
you right now.
Oh, okay. I was just saying Paul's name. So for those of you who are interested in getting involved in making holiday gifts, you've heard it mentioned several times over the course of today. We have a regular meeting where people get together and they talk about what we need to make and how we're progressing on it. And we try to enlist a volunteer corps, and I'm one of those volunteers. The idea that we were trying to bring to life this year more than last year was the idea of making customized ornaments. So here is a little ornament. It's just an elf. And what sets it apart, I suppose, is on the one hand, it's an elf that's been etched on both sides. Okay, so it can be dangling on the tree however you like. But you'll notice at the bottom here is, in both instances, just a open rectangular area. And what we will be doing is, when we have the holiday gift sale, people will be able to request a name be etched on here. Now, if you think about the practicality of that, everybody coming through, different ornaments, wanting to put names on them that are different each time, it could be a challenge. But instead, we're making fixtures on the bed of the laser that are exactly this dimension. And when someone comes, we'll just be able to put it right in the fixture, so it's already framed properly. And we'll just take the order for the name. We'll make sure that it fits inside the small area that represents the bottom of this ornament, and we'll be able to etch. Flip it, etch the other side. And that kind of customization is, if you premeditate it, something that's pretty easy to deliver. And I don't care whether or not it's easy to do or difficult to do, the value proposition on the buyer side is pretty high. You can go in and you can get Betty her own special ornament with her name on it, and that's worth something. So to the extent that we can deliver that sort of thing by thinking in advance and then preparing a workflow that makes customizing these things are easy. We should be able to make a lot of people happy, and we're really gearing up on the ornament side of things. Gary, what's the story on how many ornaments you're shooting for?
Well, Doug says he wants 700.
But you've already got 350 between you and Peggy?
Peggy's already hand painted 350 of them.
That's crazy.
Wow.
It is.
And I've got another probably 45 for her to paint.
She's waiting anxiously. So.
So, Travis.
Oh, yes. And so,
Oh, that's great.
so Alan came up. I said, we had a call, and somebody said, this is just a boy elf. What about a girl elf? So Alan, before the call was over, had found and shared this with us. And I wasn't sure how well it would go over with girls. But one lady on the call, Mary, took a look at that and just jumped with joy. And I said, sold. This is going to work. But we have to change the bottom so that it's the same shape as the boy so that it actually fits in the same fixture.
So, but I've done this on the back. Can you read that? I don't know if it's
Oh, it's standard saying on the back. Yeah.
standard saying on the back. It says, I'm watching you and making a list for Santa.
Cool.
So, and then but then I had to do the little boy too.
Well, you know what I like about the standard is, of course, you don't end up having to do the extra time etching both sides. If it was a good saying, I mean, maybe it was just Merry Christmas on the other side. All you'd have to do is etch one side. That might be another improvement in the workflow.
Yeah, it would cut it down by 50%.
47.
Okay, but you could put SDFWA Christmas.
Oh, I'm sure people would really want to pay for that. Yeah.
Well, you'd be surprised. You know, just put SDWA and Christmas 2020 on there.
Yeah.
Or something.
Christmas 2020. Yeah. Yeah.
The only thing is, if you start putting 2020 on and you have 700 of them and you only sold 500 of them, you've got a whole bunch that say 2020 on them.
Exactly.
Well, here's
That's what
another.
I've got.
Is there a way of getting orders ahead of time from people? Do we know how to contact previous buyers and stuff?
The subscription plan. We don't know. We've been talking about putting an online store up where people could maybe then enter what they'd like etched on it. But that plan isn't really too concrete. Since I've got these things lying around, one more thing here as an example. So here's an ornament, which this is a standard portion, okay? It simply says Christmas with and then 2020. What makes it special is the fact that we would be etching in acrylic the family name. In this case, I was trying to gain favor with Mr. Anderson there. And so this is the Anderson family. And it simply hangs in the middle of this ornament. And that too would be pretty compelling, I'd suspect, from somebody coming through. We have all these done in advance. This is just a piece of plastic and being cut out of acrylic. That's easy to do and quick to do. So this would be the customization. I'm personally not sure that we're going to do these in volume, but it's just another idea and an example of how, if you figure it out in advance, you can really heighten the value proposition by making it easy and offering something that's custom.
So I found something out today that anybody that's an acrylic fan needs to know. COVID-19 has increased the scrap acrylic bins greatly because they're making the shields for the cashiers and stuff like that, and they're all weird sizes, so they're having all these cutoffs at the end.
And another real cool thing is, oddly enough, that's an industry that for some reason is not volume restricted. They're able to meet the demand, which means there's all that much more scrap, which is all that much available for us, those of us who want to get a good deal on acrylic. So I hadn't thought about that part of it, Alan. Thanks for sharing that.
You're talking about rid out plastics?
Well, rid out would be a good example because they are the ones that a grocery store chain would go to buy a bunch of cash register shields. And then once they're cut to dimension, there's a lot of spare.
Yeah, I just did not know that they were open.
I would guess that they're considered an emergency business.
I know that so I called MGM. MGM is open. They're not open their regular hours. They have, they used to be open on Saturdays. They're no longer. They said during COVID, we're not open on Saturdays. And
All right.
they've got some different hours during the week, but they're cranking that stuff out. Somebody's got to be open and crank it out.
Right.
Now,
And
the
Alan-
problem is, and I asked them, can I come in and get stuff? She goes, yes. We'll let you walk in. Just bring a mask.
Alan, people may not know what we're referring to when it comes to these cutout bins and the great value. If you want to work with it on a laser, can you explain it to us?
So a sheet of cast acrylic comes in a 4x8. Well, I think they come standard a 4x8 sheet for those guys when they pick them up. Randy and I looked into buying one of those. It's like $200 for a 4x8 sheet. So if you take that out by the square foot, that's a lot of money per square foot, bucks per square foot. So what they do is they make signs. They charge, Vaughn's to make a new sign for them. If it takes a quarter of a sheet or half a sheet, they charge them for the full sheet because it's scrap after that. They only work with full sheets. And they take that scrap and they put it in their scrap bin, and then they sell it by the pound. And if you buy it by the pound, we figured out if you buy 3mm cast acrylic by the pound, it's about, I want to say 20% the cost of buying a full sheet.
So for instance, if you buy it at Ridout, they sell it to you for $2 per pound. If you buy it at San Diego Plastic, it's $1 per pound. It's incredible the deals you can get, but you also never know exactly what you're going to find. So for instance, you might come up with some beautiful mirrored acrylic, which is my favorite find, or more often than not, you'll just find a bunch of clear or white acrylic, which is fine for projects. But it's not as though you're going in as a customer knowing that you can request X and get it. You kind of have to be a regular visitor to just check out what the inventory is. But if this is a hobby and you don't want to spend tons of money, to Alan's point, $200 for a 4x8 sheet, this is a great value. And the third place was the one you mentioned up North County, Alan. What is it called?
MGM.
Yeah.
MGM?
It's just
San Diego
north of
Plastic.
78. Right, Paul?
San Diego Plastics is in National City.
Yeah, it's just off the 5 on the right-hand side at the
Yeah.
Miracle Mile exit.
Okay, great, thanks.
And,
You have
and
to
Travis,
You have to dumpster dive at San Diego Plastic. So
It is more work. It
Yeah,
absolutely
big
is.
gloves.
and I go to, every time I've gone to San Diego Plastics, all they have is empty dumpsters.
Oh, really?
I've never
Wow.
bought a piece of plastic there, acrylic there. Ridout or E-Plastics, whatever you want to call those guys up on Ruffin Road or
Yeah.
that area. They're pretty good, but you got to be careful. I've got some polycarbonate that looked like it was acrylic there, and they didn't tell me the difference.
So, Alan, could you tell people what we can and can't cut?
If it says vinyl on it, you can't cut it. Polyvinyl, I don't know what else. Really, the thing says, if it says cast or extruded acrylic, you
That's
can
the
cut
key.
it.
That's the key.
That's what you want. Anything else, you're taking a chance.
And it's hard to identify all the time what you're coming across in those bins. And sometimes it will actually say on the paper or plastic that is the skin on the acrylic. But the rule of thumb that I was told, and it's again, just a rule of thumb, so it's not always correct, but typically if it's covered with paper, that is to say the sheet plastic is paper coated, then it's acrylic. Now it's not 100% true, and it's also not 100% true that if it's covered with a sheet of plastic, that it's not acrylic. But a very good rule of thumb is that if it is paper coated, it is acrylic. If it's acrylic, then you can cut it with a laser. And the reason you can't do things like vinyl or PVC is that it creates the chlorine gas. And
Oh.
that is corrosive to the equipment, and it's also not good for inhaling. So just know that, at least in the shop, we have approved acrylic is the rule of thumb, and other organic products. So Alan likes to etch rocks for some reason. And we have cardboard, and we have paper, and we have wood, and we have, oh, what else? Leather. I mean, you can do all sorts of things that are organic, and it's fine. But when it comes to plastics, it's really acrylic.
I saw a thing on YouTube the other day that says the way to test something is, it's sort of destructive, but you take a
Torch?
wire. Well, I take a wire and you heat it up to it's red, and then you get you melt the plastic piece of it and get it on the wire, and then you put it back in the torch, and if it burns green,
Yeah.
that's off gassing chlorine gas, and you don't want to use that.
Yeah.
So I haven't tried it yet. I was going to try it on a piece of PVC pipe, because I know it's polyvinyl, but just to see if that was urban legend or reality.
Well, I've heard it as an urban legend. I've personally heard it enough times that I believe it, but I've also never tried it. I just I just ask when I buy. I'm lazy that way.
You probably
Yeah, when I have questions at Ridout, I always take it in and ask them. And if the guy doesn't know at the desk, he asks the guy next to him, and they seem to know. You know,
they're good. They really are good.
I don't know. I must have got the bad guy there then.
No, I've had good
Yeah, I
experience.
don't have much confidence in that based on
Oh, really? Yeah, I've never had them not be willing to go ask somebody if they didn't know, and almost always I get an answer. But
Yeah.
sometimes I don't want to wait to get their attention. That's why I asked for the rule of thumb, and the rule of thumb was that paper covering.
They had, and if you live on North County, the MGM places, I liked it better than Ridout.
Where is it?
Well,
Where is it?
you know where Fry's is, off of the 78?
Yeah.
It's almost exactly straight north on the other side of
Oh,
Fry's than that.
okay.
But they have, they used to have a $1 bend and a $2 bend. And the difference was the $2 bend was 48, and anything that was full length, 48 inches wide, went in the $2 bend. Anything that was a less than 48 went in the dollar bend. But the lady today told me that they got rid of the $1 bend. Everything was $2.
Got it. And if people didn't see, Paul put the link to MGM Plastics into the chat window.
Oh, there you go. Yep. And they've got all kinds of stuff there. They have resins, all kinds of glues or adhesives, and then they have other kinds of things. I did some HDPD, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
Bowls. They have big, like 8-inch, 4-inch thick, round circles of that stuff. So I made a couple of bowls out of that, and all kinds of fasteners that just, and the fasteners are each. It's like an old hardware store. You can buy, 10 of them. They're a little expensive on the fasteners, but they're not any more expensive than Redout is. And Redout, you have to buy them by the box. So if you want standoffs or connectors or something like that.
how did you cut your HDPE bowls?
On the lathe. I turned them like they were wood. Turned them a little slower than I would wood, but
Cut's nice, huh?
it did. And it's the same thing with we use in my scroll saw club, we use corian a lot, and I love to cut corian because it has no grain. You just have to cut it a little slow so it doesn't melt. But I love that stuff. Making trivets out of it and things like that. People love them.
That's pretty hard, though, eh?
Oh no, it's not that hard. It's not as hard as you think. corian you think is hard because it's countertop, but when you start cutting it with a scroll saw blade,
It's brittle, right? I mean, you can
it's
cut
brittle.
it easily, but it is brittle.
Yeah, it is brittle. But it sands, it routs, and it cuts just as good or better than wood.
I'm kind of wondering if Jim Sikora has anything to show us.
No, I don't. What I was working on before our COVID hit us,
Yeah.
took a regular cell phone picture of the robot, and I was in the process of going to the shop and trying to turn it into a little medallion that I could give away.
Oh,
And of course, all that stopped. But that's
Yeah.
my goal every year, is to get a picture of our current robot, make 100 of these little giveaway medallions, and give those to our friends and competitors at these events. But I have
to your
nothing-
your competitors too, huh?
Oh
Hey,
yeah,
Jim?
we won our event.
Oh, but you even give them to your competitors?
Oh yeah, because
Oh, cool.
you're with and you're against almost everyone, because it's
Yeah.
one big round robin basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim, have you tried? Before I got my laser, I was using a branding iron to make with one of those brands from Rockler, and I bought wooden. I call them wooden nickel slugs, but they're the size of a 50-cent piece, and it's just pine that they've sliced real thin and sanded. You should be able to take those with your diode laser and
Oh, good.
etch onto those, and you don't have to worry about the burn then. And they're
That's
not that
great.
expensive if you
Yeah.
buy them by the 100.
So, Jim, just as a quick note on that, because you can do a framing, you probably know that there is a frame button that is a rectangle, and there is a frame button that shows as a circle. The circle frame button actually takes on the contour of the shape of your object. So if you had these pre-cut wooden medallions, and you wanted to be sure that you were going to etch exactly on the medallion, you'd position everything, and then you'd hit the round frame button, and the diode laser would go around the outside, and you can just perfectly position the medallion. So you don't have to worry that the diode laser won't cut your MDF, or excuse me, your 3mm ply. It's going to do the etching, and it'll do the etching exactly where you want it, and you'll know because of your ability to place it very precisely. And by the way, that kind of information that Alan was just sharing with you, I don't know if you guys know this, but Alan is the laser SIG lead. And you can tell his expertise is amazing. And you're talking to the godfather of medallions here, Jim. This guy has been doing them. I go to events, and he looks at a little kid, and he says, that little kid seems that kind of kid. And he pulls out a medallion just for that kid. He's got like dozens of them on his body, and he pulls them out just to match who he's meeting with, or what the person's attitude is, or what he wants to say to them. So in Alan, you've got a good person to ask questions about medallions.
Good. That's a good tip from both of you guys. Thanks.
You bet.
So
Alan has to learn how to pull them out from behind the ears, eh?
I'll bet he does.
I got a pocket back there too.
Hey, Tom. Tom, are you doing anything with lasers right now?
Hold on a second. Let's see what I'm at here.
We hear you.
Yeah. Oh, my computer crashed 2 days ago, so I was just trying to turn it on here because I have been doing some projects I was going to show you, but I have this backup computer and it won't let me run LightBurn. I was going to show you one thing that I did run into though, let's see if I can maybe share.
Hey, Tom, just a quick tip. When you're moving from one computer to another, if you unregister the first computer from LightBurn, then you can re-register the same number on a new computer. And that way you don't have to buy a new license, but you have to at least be able to unregister the first one.
The computer just in the middle of some work I was doing just stopped running. The disk drive failed, so there wasn't
Okay.
much
All right. Oh, well.
registering possible.
Well, remember that we do have a 75% discount. If you don't have the code, let us know.
All right. I want to.
75%?
Yeah.
Because it's normally $30, right?
No, it's normally $80 for the one that we use with our RUIDA controllers. Any digital signal processing controller needs to have the $80 version. We can get it for $20.
Well, I was going to show you some of these projects. This is the
Great.
only one that I actually have a PDF of, and this is a sign I made for someone. I need to clean up this little corner here. But
Oh yeah, right.
I did pull down this logo, which was a bitmap, and converted it as we're talking about. The challenge is I picked up this Disney style font.
Ah,
And if you don't have that font on, say I could go into the shop, and you don't have that font, it's not gonna bring it up, even if you bring LightBurn up. Like for example, I see if I can actually double click on the LightBurn file.
Very
See if
true.
I-
Been burned on that before.
What's that?
I've been burned on that before where I got a font and had a nice layout, but the font was not on the computer
yeah.
at the shop.
But that
So
looked
I
like
have
it
the
was-
fonts here. So I guess that's the question. I guess I can bring these fonts in and put them on the computer so that the LightBurn can see
You
them.
can. You'll need the admin password, which I'm happy to give you when you're doing it. But yes, you can do that. The other thing you can do though is save it as a image. And then the computer doesn't look at it as being a font. It looks at it as either a pixel image or it looks at it as a vector. And so you can't edit it.
Oh, you can convert it to vector then.
Exactly, exactly. Now the other thing I wanted to show you is, can you load the PDF? Actually, do you have a JPEG of that PDF file or do you not?
Well, here's I have a JPEG of this.
Okay, so why don't you load that? Yeah, let's just load that for a second. Bring that into LightBurn for just a second.
All right, let's see if I can actually, I can't do much in LightBurn, so I can import that particular one.
Yep.
See if it'll actually allow it. Let's see, that was on the thumb drive.
Yeah, just bring in one of those JPEGs. Okay,
All right, so
zoom
there
in
it
close
is.
to it.
What's that?
Zoom in closer to it so we can see it.
Let's see.
You can also hit the button that's 2 to the right of that and it'll fill the screen with the image. There you go.
So
Okay.
you can see this is indeed a JPEG.
Correct. So let's do 2 things. Right now, let's go ahead and hit the preview button up top. Yep. Let's take a look at how long it takes. Okay, so that says 23 minutes and 20
All
seconds.
right.
Okay, hit OK so we get out of this. Now double click on that layer. That is to say, in the cuts window in the upper right, double click on that. All right. Now, if you'll notice the line interval there, which is the first line in the second block, is
0.1
0.1
millimeter.
millimeters. Change that to 0.5. Okay, now hit OK. All right, now let's preview that again. Okay, now it's down to 4 minutes and 44 seconds. Now
Right.
zoom in, and you may not like what you see. So just zoom in a lot by getting.
Can you zoom in on this view, or you got
Do
to
you have
close
a
it?
wheel on your mouse?
I do not have a mouse with this backup computer.
Ah, okay. So if we were to zoom in, what we did when we moved that number from 0.1 millimeters to 0.5 was we said, instead of, as you're going back and forth, instead of just moving off 0.1 millimeters each time, move across 0.5 millimeters. So there's a little bit of white space in between one line and the next.
Shows here.
So you need to be able to zoom in on that. It doesn't sound as though you have.
Command plus.
You know, that's what you get when you're borrowing a darn
Paul had a
computer.
suggestion. What was that, Paul?
Command plus.
Try Command plus.
That ought to do it.
There you go. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, so there we've got our lines. You can actually see that there is some space. If we were to, it's kind of hard to do in software because you need to click the same number of times, but hit OK for just a second. And let's go back into that one layer. Double click on that layer. All right, now I want you to notice on the left-hand side there, it says image settings, and it shows the arrows going back and forth,
Yeah.
etc. Right? Now, there is a way for us to turn that into a crosshatch. I don't
Is that
see it.
is that the mode type?
Try it. Let's see.
I don't know which. No, they don't. That doesn't look right.
That's,
Alan, do you know where the crosshatch is?
I'm trying to remember.
Maybe you don't have the newest version. Could you hit cancel there and let's go look at the version of LightBurn that you're running?
Let's see.
About in the help menu, yeah.
Where are we here?
I don't.
Do we have an about? Wait a minute.
Alan, where do we find that?
I don't know. It's a Mac.
Oh, okay. Yeah, try that one.
Well, see, it jumped back to the 30-day free license, which is kind of a pain.
Right. Okay, so let's not worry about not being able to show you that, but I just wanted to make a point that if you are worried about losing your font because you have it on your machine at home and it looks beautiful, but when you get to the shop, it's not beautiful anymore because they don't have it on that machine, one thing you can do is take the font with you, and Alan or I or Paul or whomever can work with you to get that font on there. However, a much more practical thing is if you've got a final version, just convert that font to a vector.
Right.
And that's done inside of
edit.
Convert to path, yes. So there was a way inside of the
convert to path here.
Convert to
That's
path.
what I would clear out.
That would turn your font into a set of vectors. Now the next thing is, how long does it take? Well, we just went from 23 minutes down to 4 minutes. And you may not like the result of the 4 minutes, but we also just went from 0.1 millimeters to 0.5. You obviously can make anything in between. So maybe a 0.25 or a 0.35 would do the trick. And you can dramatically improve the speed at which your etching will be done.
Right.
And then there's also the fact that you could do a crosshatch. So all those things are worth knowing about because they can make a real difference in how effective, how quickly you can get a good result. So just some tips, the kind of things that you just sort of learn over time.
Yes. I also, for a long time, was doing things in CorelDRAW.
Yeah.
See, I think I have a lot of those still. I have them in Dropbox.
Well, a lot of us on this call use CorelDRAW still.
I just have a ton of CorelDRAW ones that I was trying to figure out, could you convert any of these?
Absolutely.
Like here's
every one of those CorelDRAWs can be exported into multiple formats that are supported by LightBurn. Alan, help me out with this. There's SVG.
DFX. SVG and DFX are the two best in the AI. You can do you can use the CorelDRAW files will convert in Inkscape to an SVG file real fast.
Yeah.
But I don't think that Inkscape. I don't think that
Corel.
No, I don't think LightBurn takes a CDR file directly.
It does not. No, it does not. But Tom, Corel is a very capable program, and you can output it in a variety of formats that you can bring right over into LightBurn.
Right. I just haven't messed with it too much, but okay. I got a lot of here that was CorelDRAW stuff.
Well, Tom, just so you know, inside of our forums, which are again at forum, I didn't actually say this before, but forum.sdfwa.org. So basically the association's URL, but with forum in the front. You can go there, and we have a laser special interest group. And any questions you have, any problems you have, we have approaching 100 people who are involved in the conversation there. And so if you have questions, post it there. The results are probably better in the laser category than any place else. And so anybody else on this call is also welcome to go there and use it as a resource. there's a lot of knowledge in this community at this point. We have 170 plus people who have learned to use lasers in our shop. And I'd say almost 100 of them are on these forums. And I'd say a good 25 of them have purchased a little diode laser recently. Just out of curiosity, as a show of hands, how many people on this call, I'm going to bring up my gallery view so I can see everybody at once. How many people here bought a little diode laser called the Auteur?
And now I don't remember how to hold my hand up again.
Okay, so you got one, and then there's two more, and we just saw, okay. And then there's Jim using the manual way of raising his hand physically. Oh, and
No,
you
I
did
don't
too,
have-
Tom?
I don't. No, I did not.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm still on the fence of getting a laser.
Well, here's the thing. It's only $175. And it is not going to be, for the point that Jim was making, it's not going to be for cutting. It's really meant to be for etching. The one that a lot of us got is really limited to about 6 by 6 inches square. But if you have the room, you could put it on a larger gantry and you can get, I don't remember what the other size is. Alan, do you remember what the other size is? That
It's like 400. It's like 400 millimeters square.
Okay, so that's let's see,
That's like
16 inches?
18 inches, 16 inches, something.
Yeah,
like
16 inches. So you get 16 inches square. My point in bringing that up is only because here we are on Alan's LightBurn class. And the beautiful thing about this inexpensive laser is that it runs on LightBurn. So everything that you would also be able to do in the shop, albeit larger in the shop, more powerful in the shop, on a small scale, you can get started right at home for 175 bucks. And we now have about 25 people who've purchased them. And again, they're also all in those forums online. So I just wanted to share all that with Tom. In case you have problems, that's a place to get answers.
So this is an example of something I think I can do more easily on LightBurn, which is to do a grayscale on like an image like this, which is a clock face I was making for somebody, where I can do regular laser engraving, I guess here, but in a thing like this, where
Yep.
you look at it, it's a grayscale. I think that the LightBurn grayscale capability should make that turn out a lot better. But
Absolutely.
I've not been able to try it yet.
And Tom, just so you know, that $175 laser supports grayscale. There were a lot of reasons, but it's still only a $175 laser. It's not the best thing in the world, but it does grayscale. It supports LightBurn. It's really quite a treat if someone wants to get laser into their lives. And someday we'll get Grinning Gary to actually take the leap as well.
If I could get Paul to come over to my house and set it up, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Paul, challenge accepted or no?
I have to get mine working first.
Well, again, we've done sessions like this in Zoom, and they're recorded and available on the website. One of them is how to get your Auteur laser set up, because there were certain things that needed to be done, and it's all there in a video. And then frankly, they're the forums. People getting answers all the time over there. Is Marty still here?
Yep.
Marty, was the community helpful to you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, very helpful. After I ruined it with the wrong hardware update that I didn't need.
Yeah, they made a change between pre-pandemic and post-pandemic Hong Kong, and they didn't let us all know that you didn't need to do this thing. So Marty didn't do anything wrong. Marty did the right thing to the
I
wrong
followed
machine.
the directions.
Yeah, exactly.
I couldn't
Exactly.
have.
But it was somebody in our community that managed to get you up and going, right?
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Cool.
I want to say I found a couple of things on the LightBurn forums that talk about this Auteur laser. And
Oh,
just the last 2 weeks, they've put some little like 20-second videos up that show you how to tighten those belts.
Oh, good.
And a lot of other things that I didn't need to do, but there was something about some eccentric screws. It seems I heard something somewhere and explain.
Marty, if you wouldn't mind posting that, Tim has a belt that he wants to tighten, and he hasn't been able to get from us how to do that. If there's a video, and he can just go link to it. And just so you guys know, before we ever recommended the Auteur, we talked to the author of LightBurn and asked him what he recommended. And for many reasons, he recommended this one, but he also said that it was supported by LightBurn, and that's really what took us over the top. So Marty has one. I didn't see your hand go up because my
Oh, I had it up for a while.
Oh, you did. I only had 6. I only have 6 pictures on here because I don't control this one. Alan controls this, and
But I
I
think
couldn't
they're-
see everybody.
Yeah,
But
I guess
that's
it's
great.
10 people all together.
Hey, Paul, has it been a long day?
Yeah, a little bit.
Hey, Alan, you out there?
I'm still here.
Cool.
I'm making tokens just as fast as I can.
Hey, can you do us a favor and give everybody the gallery view so we can see who else is out there?
I don't know how to do that.
I've got it.
It's the
You can
little
just
grid.
click the
Just hit
little
that thing in the upper right-hand corner of your screen.
grid view.
Yeah.
Do it for yourself if you want.
Yeah,
Travis, I think you're used to being in charge, and
yeah.
now you
I don't
have
know how to use
it.
this as a regular user.
Yeah,
Okay, I get it now.
regular user.
This Germ Why Do. That guy. Do you have a laser? Do you use a laser?
I do not have a laser.
How do we say your name? Jeremy?
Oh, just Gerard's fine.
Gerard. Okay, cool. So what we've been talking about is a laser that a bunch of people have been getting. If you go to the forums at forum.sdfwa.org and go to the laser SIG, you can see all about it. We've got just probably hundreds of posts. Marty, around a couple hundred probably. I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah.
messages.
I appreciate it. I'm looking at it up now. My girlfriend's not happy.
It's only $175 and a couple hundred hours of fiddling.
Yeah, I think that's the
Or
major
weeks.
Yeah. Oh, and tell them it takes a while. If you buy yours before a pandemic, you're going to wait.
Yeah.
Marty, how long did you have to wait?
I think I ordered it on the 29th of February and it came April 3rd.
April 3rd. So
Something
only a
like
month, a little over a month.
Yeah.
That wasn't as bad.
I'm still waiting for my rotary attachment. It's supposed to ship on the 15th.
That's another thing. It's amazing. Alan, tell everybody how much your rotary attachment costs.
$59.
$59. And you can etch as many
Oh.
soda cans as you want, baseball bats as you want. You name it, you can etch.
So
I don't know.
and,
Sorry, Alan?
and a rotary attachment for Big Green is about $250.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the basic one, right?
Yeah, that's the roller one, like Green, not that clamp thing like we have.
Right,
with
right.
blue.
With a chuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just sort of sitting here coming up with topics. But Alan, is there anything else that you wanted to cover?
No, that was it. I'm tapped out.
Okay. Marty, have you done anything with yours that you can show people yet?
Yes.
Good.
My daughter wanted this done.
put it in front of you so we can see it. There we go.
It's some joke. It's Keanu Reeves.
Marty, what you don't know is that because of the way your background logic works, when you put that in front of you,
Oh,
it became your head. It became your head. It was a tiny little head.
And let me see, let's see, if I go to my,
Oh, yeah.
can you see it?
Yeah.
There you go.
My Ruffy Mommy. Do you see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my first one. The first thing I did
Can I make a small recommendation to you?
to get rid of these dots.
Yes, exactly. Do you know how to do
Yeah,
that?
you can.
Okay, so you get rid of the dots by dramatically reducing the power in your min power, because those dots are where it's reversing direction or slowing down to a stop. So
Okay.
you want it to really go down in power as it gets to those points so it doesn't overburn at those locations. When we teach the laser class, we just say, oh, don't worry about minimum power and maximum power. To begin with, just do the same. But this is where the problem with that logic really shows itself. It's when you end up with these spots. Anytime the laser is going to slow down to a stop, it's going to leave this unless you have a much lower min power. So fiddle with that and you'll get rid of the dots.
Okay, thank
And
you.
what's this? Show us the guy on the left again.
Oh, him?
Yeah.
This is Keanu Reeves. There's something that my son-in-law and his friends get together once a year, and this is
Yeah.
for Reeves' annual movie fest or something.
That's awesome.
And
That's
my
awesome.
daughter wanted me to do this, so
That's
I did
great.
that today. I used all your techniques on how to bring in these things, and
That's great. That's
some of them are gray and some of them are black to begin with, although it doesn't show up so much on this.
Hey, Tom, that's what you get for $175
There
laser.
you go.
Isn't that amazing? So, Marty, just so you know, if you are not seeing the distinctions between your grays and your blacks, are you using the grayscale feature?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, now that's probably the best way for you to get shades of gray is when you're in an etching. There are many different algorithms that you can choose. There's Jarvis, there's halftones, there are a variety of other ones. Grayscale is the most remarkable of them. It was when they put that into LightBurn and it supported the RuiDa controller, it was this epiphany that all of a sudden we could take pictures and put them into wood. And amazingly, you can do it with these diode lasers as well. So when you etch the next one of these, choose the drop down inside of your, let me see if I can be more specific.
LightBurn?
Yeah, so could you bring up LightBurn?
Let's see. You have to do it.
You'd have to share screen again, and then you have to choose the LightBurn window if it's already open.
Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, so there, LightBurn's opening.
Okay, and once it's open, then you just say share screen, and it'll show you all the screens that you can choose from. But that Keanu Reeves looks great.
Where is the, oh, no, that's not it.
Up in the middle of your screen at top, I think.
Oh, this one, here.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay, so can you load the Keanu Reeves? Okay, so let's see, the green. Double click on the green line. All right, now,
This was supposed to be the grade. So what I did was I made this line interval bigger.
yeah. Yeah, I don't see the grayscale drop down,
This is
but
not
oddly
an,
enough,
it's not
by
an
the way,
image.
guys, if you notice in the,
Here's crosshatch.
exactly. So when we were talking, Tom, about the ability to speed up your etching and how you could get
Right.
a more consistent darkness if you wanted to do like 0.5 millimeter intervals as opposed to 0.1, you can get a crosshatch. So you actually go and there you go, the crosshatch, and you can even change the angle. So Marty, go ahead and change the angle there. It's in the middle there. Change it to like 45. So if you know something would look better if it was at an angle while it did its etching, that's another variable you can play with.
So
But I don't,
You got that because you had the particular layer that
No,
allowed you to
Travis.
do that?
No,
yes, go ahead, Alan, go ahead.
Travis, the problem was he was doing an image. He wasn't doing a vector. He didn't have a vector made out of his image.
Right.
Oh, I
we
see.
hadn't
So
converted it yet.
you don't get a crosshatch function
Good,
on image.
good. But let's tell him how he can get a vector out of that image and still do this.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
That's what-
we've covered that, right? That's
Yes, we did. Exactly.
Yep,
Exactly.
yep.
Good.
So
that's
you do that, and then you use fill, just like Marty has,
right.
and then it gives you this ability there.
Yeah. Hey, Alan, do you see why it is she doesn't have the various grayscale options?
It's not a picture.
Oh, that's right, because you actually have vectors here. Yes, very good, Alan.
So Marty, go up to, click on your orange line power scale right there. Click on that.
Oh, there you can do it. Yes, good.
Double click on it.
wait a minute. This is,
There you go. So
well, that's my letters.
But Travis, this doesn't have a min power mode. It only has a max power mode. Is that because she's using an Apple? Is it because
I don't know. But would you go ahead and choose in that mode, see if you can get fill. So click on the
Wait a
mode.
minute. It's up
Change
here
your-
underneath this stuff. How do I get rid
No,
of
so
it?
go just the 5th line there, where it says mode, change that to,
Oh,
yeah, change that to fill. And, yeah, I don't see the the grayscales here either, Alan.
No.
Anyhow, I was just trying to show you something that could have been useful for getting your grayscale. Next time, I don't have my Ortura, I've loaned it out to somebody, so in a few weeks when I get it back, I'll try to figure out what's going on there. But you
here's,
should be,
oh no, that's power min.
which is what you want if you're going to have it slow down to get rid of those dots.
Yeah, so you want to put it like 10% there.
But it's down, it's grayed out. I can't change it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know
that
why
has
right offhand.
Yeah, that has something to do with the GBRL Weiss, the Rui controller, I bet.
Yeah, maybe.
The
But in
what?
any case, these were just ideas that we were exploring so that those of us on the call who aren't familiar with it could just start thinking about these options. Alan, is there anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Did we challenge Gary to show us anything?
No.
I did a very rudimentary design
Yeah.
on the side of the box. Did
There you go.
one of the Christmas ornament designs, put that in. And then on the other side, I did a,
Nutcracker. Nice.
You know, I just hate it when someone obviously did their homework and the rest of us didn't.
well, on the
Hey,
front,
I
I
did
was,
a picture.
on the
Oh,
front,
okay,
I
good.
was going to put Alan or teacher's pet, but
There you go.
Uh,
There always has to be one in every class, you know, Travis.
that's right. That's right. Alan, this has been fantastic. I've really enjoyed
yes,
it.
it has. I agree.
I have a great time doing this. I'll be glad to do it. I don't think every week is a good idea, but
Oh, of course not. No.
my wife is going to think that I'm doing something besides sitting in the man cave on Friday nights.
Right.
But
Right.
but if we wanted to do this once a month or something like that,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
even
Well,
if
this is-
well, during this whole COVID thing, I'd even do it every other week.
Yeah. Well, you make the call, man. You're the one who's leading the special interest group. So, I mean, it's obviously an interest. Here we are on a Friday night, and you still got, after 2 hours, 10 people hanging in there. So there's an interest.
So I think we'll talk about it and see what the right number is. If everybody still wants to do this, come up with every other week or something. Is Friday a good time for everybody?
Well, while there's a
So far,
COVID
yeah.
crisis.
Yeah.
What was that, Marty?
So far.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Where
we can't
else
go,
am I
we
going?
can't go anywhere else anyway for now, at least.
Yeah. So, if you guys want to try this every other week, I'd be glad to do it. I mean, we can try to come up with something little to do. Everybody do maybe not 2 hours, maybe just do an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good idea. Yeah.
Bring your latest, newest creation. Even if you haven't, because since we can't get to the shop and do lasers and some people don't have them, if you can just design something, you can share your LightBurn screen and show us what you're doing. And if you have a problem, then we can, somebody on here has had that problem before more than
Yep.
one.
Yes. Good idea.
And the other thing is if we have, if anybody needs anything, parts and pieces wise, I know all of us have parts and pieces, so and things are hard to come by during the whole COVID shipping fiasco. So if something breaks and you need a hose or a switch or something like that, speak out and let everybody know, and somebody will have one that they'll either give you or let you buy off of them, I'm sure.
Hey, Alan, I need an Alan's Man Cave sign. Do you know where I can get one?
Yeah, you have to talk to my daughter about that. So,
All right. Well, thank you very much, Alan.
all right.
Thanks a lot.
Let's
It was
stop recording.
very helpful.
Have a good evening.
Travis?
Thank you.
Yeah.